Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. You can find me all over the place except the places like Instagram and Twitter, but I am on YouTube and Facebook. Kind of old-fashioned that way, I guess. Anyway, welcome to my little gig here. We talk about food, we talk about tracking and discipline and structure and emotions surrounding food because I feel it all is up here. The harm is in our gut, our second brain. It's been trying to give us messages for years. We, we struggle to listen to it, and so we keep eating sometimes the wrong things. We start making changes, and that's what this program is all about here, where we decide to pull back, turn it over, read the label, make decisions based on the information that we're given on the label. Do the labels tell us everything? No. Like, what is natural flavorings? That is so deceitful. But as long as the government can get away with it, the marketers can get away with it, and places, food manufacturers, food flavoring places, as long as they can get away with it, they will. And trust me, they have lots of board meetings about how to continue to dupe us. Look at all the trouble that California's had with GMOs. I know that Vermont, I'm not sure what day it is, I know it's sometime this summer, they have to do GMO labeling. Oh, yes, they do. And so that is huge, huge expense for a lot of companies because suddenly one state by law is requiring it. So if they're going to sell their purchase in their product in that state, they got to have the GMO label. And that is in my magazine that I forgot to bring in and tell you about. But one of the rather larger food companies is going to be labeling whether they use GMOs or not in each product, because if they have to do it for Vermont, they might as well do it across the board because hopefully its time is coming. And of course, I love to hear things like that. Sometimes, I watch food podcasts, where people talk about food, and they're in the losing stage, so they don't mind eating things that have all kinds of not so good things in it for them because of the losing part, figuring they'll get healthy later. And as you know, I follow Dr. Berg's philosophy with you get healthy first and then you can lose weight. And so that means changing your food before you change your portions. But eating a lot of the sugar-free, chemical-laden foods while you're on your way to getting to this svelte body that you're hoping for, you're still piling into your system yucky stuff. So getting clean with your food is another thing that we talk about often here. I think it's important. I like to know what I'm eating, what it ate before it got to me, right? So where does the chain begin? There's a long chain sometimes of where the foods began. If I'm eating something labeled on some carton of eggs that says pasture raised or organic or cage free or only strictly fed a vegetarian diet, what do all those things mean? Am I eating the egg from a little chicken that was outside in a pasture that wasn't sprayed with pesticides, pecking away at insects and grass and things like that? Or is it coming from a place where they sprayed some Monsanto hideous poison and so did the people making the grain that they're eating? Do you see what I'm saying? It's a chain. It's a chain of custody of crap. So anyway, we do the best that we can, but we do discover stuff, and people put things on my Facebook page about discoveries they've made about certain products that help too, because we want to be as informed as possible. And is it easy to eat totally clean? Well, I suppose if I was on some mountaintop with my own organic garden and I lived in as sterile a world as possible and didn't rely on anybody else for my food, maybe, but I eat as clean as I can with what I'm working with. And I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you. when I buy a bottle of oil, avocado or extra virgin olive oil, or a container of extra virgin, raw, unrefined, cold pressed coconut oil, I'm trusting that these things are made under sterile, healthy conditions and that everything I need to know is on the label. But, some food manufacturers, some food manufacturers don't have to print a lot of the stuff. That's why when I talk about Truvia being processed 47 times to get to that cute little crushed white powder that looks oh so innocent in that packet, it may have come from a root that is, started in the ground and not in some chemical lab. But after 47 processes, what's been done to it? That's why I don't have Truvia. I have stevia drops and I have Zyla. I have the organic stevia drops from Trader Joe's. I'm hoping that's the best quality I could buy. The Zyla that I buy are cute little white crystals, not unlike kosher salt, a little bit bigger than like a sugar crystal. And I'm hoping that that's made under the best of conditions as well. So, as far as GMOs go, who knows? I mean, corn has their own GMO inside of it. If you've seen some of those videos on food, you could learn a lot more. GMO stands for genetically modified organism. So, yeah. And they're allowed to do it now with farm-raised salmon, which I stopped eating that years ago when I learned that it's kind of like a white grayish fish that they dye to look like the wild-caught pink salmon that comes from cold water and, costs $20-something a pound, the real deal. The farm-raised salmon, now they're allowed to use GMOs in it, and they dye it, and that's not even DYI it for your DIET, if you're getting the play on words, and they don't have to disclose this to you. So, this is scary stuff, and so if you don't think they're messing with your food because there's nothing on the label, you could be very, very wrong. And so we do the best we can here uncovering little things, but then sometimes here we deal with the emotions surrounding the food, the pushback you give yourself from food, the resistance you give yourself from food. A case of the efforts where you just blow your weekend. I love reading posts where people say Monday through Friday I do great, and then by Friday night it kicks off, and then I go right through Sunday. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. That's why I have a lot of Messy Monday videos. You don't want a messy Monday. What is a messy Monday? A messy Monday is when you started on Friday night the reward for the hard week of work. And then you did maybe a big breakfast out on Saturday before you did your errands and chores, followed by going to somebody's house for dinner, followed by Saturday, one of those afternoon cookouts where it starts at noon, ends at 5, and it's nothing but food all day long. And then Monday, you're going to get back on track. And you don't want to know the damage that you did to yourself. You'll say, well, I was kind of good. I did the best I could. Well, I'm sure if it wasn't tracked and you had no knowledge of it and you didn't even bring any of your own food for safety, that you probably went over in your points, went over on your calories, went over in your macros. And Messy Monday is really mopping up quite the spillage. And so those are the sort of things we talk about here, because we are all susceptible to weekends with food, whether your weekend, like mine, begins at noon on Thursday and ends Saturday night. I work on Sunday. So Messy Mondays can really derail the best of intentions Monday through Friday. I guess if you're on maintenance and it seems to be working for you, and you're okay, then okay. But we're talking about the person that wants to keep going, wants to keep losing, and they do this self-sabotaging weekend devastation to themselves and to their body. I was watching this really cool guy that I like. His name is Goody Beats. And on May, he had his final carb up, feed up, whatever he calls it. And he went to Austin, which looked like a really groovy type of town. And he's young, he and his wife, and they went with another couple, and all the food vendors. And so it was his last. He said it's going to be his last time doing this, because I guess he was doing this once a week, where he just has whatever he wants. And so we had ice cream with the mix-ins and the pizza and the I don't know, he had all kinds of stuff from all the different vendors in Austin, and it looked great. Oh, a great big burger with the roll and all these sort of things that he doesn't have on the other days. But he said that's his last time doing it. And I'm grain free, 98% sugar free, because I do have sugar. I have white chocolate morsels in my fat bomb, and that has that has sugar in it. But I am grain free, and I don't think I'd treat myself to a grain free carb up if I have what some keto people call carb up. To me, it's a great big bowl of veggies. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me, how rude. And so that's how I would treat it. But other people, I guess, really dive into those, the real carbs, the white flour carbs. So anyway, that's what this channel and Facebook page are all about. Uncovering things, finding the way, dealing with the emotions, healing your gut with the choices that you make, trying to get away from eating some of the things that aren't healthy for you while you try to lose weight, because they do make it look great. Even yesterday, I was pulled in. I saw a lot of the Walden Farm sugar-free flavors, the syrups, that I see a lot of people do in their, like in their bulletproof coffees or their smoothies. And there's 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. But there's this much chemical information in the back. And I admit I was pulled for a second. I'm always pulled to caramel. I like caramel. But I did not buy any of them, but that's where they were, because some people say the Walden Farms ones are good. Now, it's interesting in marketing, Walden Farms, right? So it conjures up that there's some sort of healthy thing. This is the marketing that we're fed all the time. And so it really should be Walden Labs, right? It should be some, the windows are like, 10 feet up, and no lab technician can see outside. It's just letting in daylight, and they work diligently to make the flavors taste as close to what we think as real as possible. And then they put this Walden Farms, and it sounds like something up in Vermont down a long dirt road, doesn't it? It's a chemical lab. And so that had to be my final snap on my wrist. Like, no, Sarah, you're not buying anything like this. It's enough that you're trying to clean up your act. You don't need to introduce something that you'd have to clean up later. Or end up saying, why did I even buy that? Or tasting it and saying, oh yeah, it's got that fake sweet thing in it, and then tossing it out. I've thrown out more $3 to $10 items that just, didn't cut it for my taste palette, thinking that this would be a nice addition. Speaking of that, I did have some of my grass-fed jerky gourmet. I had the ghost pepper, the really hot. The bite came long after I was done chewing it. It's funny. But I guess because I use a lot of chopped, the pepper flakes on in my spaghetti sauce and my on my pizza, that it wasn't as shocking to me. And this one is the cracked black pepper. But very interesting. I mean, 1 ounce is 50 calories, and it takes a while to chew, and the flavors are wicked powerful and nice. And so it's a good bang for my buck for 50 calories, 1 ounce. And so now I see what the attraction is to jerky. It takes a long time to chew it, for sure. but it's a powerful burst of flavors, which is nice. And so it could be my version of a power bar. I don't have it as a snack though. I had it as a continuance of my lunch. So, which is how I do it. So I have my bulletproof coffee in the morning, and then I have a little leftover bulletproof coffee when I get to work, like 5 hours later. And then 2 to 3 hours after that, I have my first meal. And then 5 hours after that, I have my second meal. So that's how I roll. So it's 2 substantial meals. One is at noon with enough fat in it to carry me from noon to 5, because my hungry horrors come noon to 5. My mental hunger is noon to 5. I don't have the nighttime eating deal because I dealt with that a long time ago, as many of you know. But I need to get through the 12 to 5 with my mental hunger always telling me I'm hungry. It has nothing to do with being hungry. It's just my mental hunger tells me I'm hungry, if you're following me. Excuse me, that's the stuff we deal with here. The bears of our daily food regimen, and when the stuff kicks in, and how we handle and tackle and bring to the ground each bear that tries to make us eat when we're not supposed to, or what we're not supposed to. So, welcome to Pearls of Wisdom and Food. I hope you enjoyed this little video, just a little bit about what we are. Thanks for watching so much. I appreciate your comments below. Subscribe, ask to be a member of the Pickle Tribe, and I appreciate all of it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye for now.